chapter number 5 today and continuing again with MFN 6. So chapter number 5 deals with health economics and economics of malnutrition. Basically, what is malnutrition? First of all, what is health economics? Health economics includes analysis and evaluation of health policy and the health system from an economic perspective. In particular, it includes health system planning, market mechanisms, demand and supply of healthcare, economic evolution of individual diagnostic and therapeutic procedures, determinants of health and its evaluation, and evaluation of the performance of healthcare systems in terms of equity and efficiency. So it deals with everything really, as I have told you earlier. Health economics basically is the evaluation of certain parameters, or maybe it is the analysis and evaluation of health policies, etc. And what is malnutrition? And to be very correct, malnutrition is not only undernutrition, it includes undernutrition as well as overnutrition. That is, if a person is underweight, even that person is malnourished, and if a person is overweight, even that is also malnourishment. So don't mistakenly say that only underweight means malnutrition. Any type of specific imbalance or anything also deals with malnutrition. The entire thing is known as malnutrition. So if we go by the definition, malnutrition can be defined as a pathological condition resulting from a relative or absolute deficiency or excess of one or more of the essential nutrients. From a nutritional standpoint, the condition can fall under the following 4 categories, which is undernutrition, overnutrition, imbalance and specific deficiency. Now next, coming to what are the causes of malnutrition. The first cause is, of course, in our country the first cause is poverty and hunger. As we know that due to poverty, people don't get to eat the right amount and right food, the good foods. So that is a very important reason or cause of malnutrition. And due to this, we are facing mental issues, we are facing weight issues. Sometimes this is also the fact that if we skip something due to maybe we are saving food for the later part of the day, and that's why we are skipping a particular meal, also leads to malnutrition. That is basically insecurity of food. So even that is a cause of malnutrition. There is a very systematic diagram given of the malnutrition and its causes in page number 96. Okay. Now, what are the consequences of malnutrition? Malnutrition contributes to more than half of the child deaths worldwide. As you can see, we have learned earlier about protein energy malnutrition, and there are other types also, but very commonly we can see protein energy malnutrition, that is PEM, which we have discussed in chapter number 3. Okay. And other than that, there is risk of death is rising as the grade of malnourishment increases among children from mild to moderate and severely malnourished. Okay. What are the economic consequences? Even this economic consequences is given in a diagrammatic manner. So I will not repeat that. If you go through that, you will come to know about the economic consequences. So coming to the indicators of nutrition. An indicator is a specific and measurable statistical construct for monitoring progress towards a goal. Macro indicators for sector-wide monitoring, meso indicators for regional or cross-agency policy monitoring and evaluation, and micro indicators for agency program monitoring and evaluation. Now coming to a part, this is also the types of indicators. Okay. First is indicators related to government policies. So the indicators related to government policies are nutrition policies, nutrition intervention feeding programs, percent free school meals, is that this a marker of nutritional health or marker of social and health inequalities? Food availability, food accessibility, food security, food stocks, food subsidies, food budget standards, etc. Indicators at an individual level. Number of individuals who have gone hungry through lack of personal food supply, amount of expenditure on food, percent of disposable income spent on food, and cost of 1 kilocalorie, etc. are some of the indicators that can be used as at individual level. The third one is food and nutrition intake. Okay. So the directly it is national or regional, household and individual, and there is a dietary diversity based on different communities, and it changes from various countries to various states and communities, and food balance sheets. Okay. The fourth point is nutritional status. Now this is very important for us because we are the ones who actually determine the nutritional status by various processes like anthropometry, biochemical tests, then clinical examinations, diet survey. All these types of processes are being explained later on. And the fifth one is health status, morbidity and mortality rate, macronutrient and micronutrient deficiencies. There are certain intervention programs by the government which is listed in page number 101. You can go through that. What is nutrition economics now? We were studying about health economics. Now what is nutrition economy? Nutritional problems that affect the productivity of an individual, which in turn affects the productivity of the nation. This results in a great loss for nation. Many factors influence the nutritional state of an individual or community. Example, amount of food production, food storage, food pricing, subsidies, food distribution, targeted public distribution, that is basically TPDS system is there, which we will talk about later, and government policies. So the discipline of nutritional economics hence tries to analyze this relation so that the existing food sources can be used efficiently. Okay. So what are the issues that are covered by nutrition economy? Includes quantity of food commodities and their development in time, that is food production system, prices of food commodities and their development in time, share of nutrition expenditure in total expenditure and their development in time, development of total expenditure on food in stable prices, statement of the nutrition need according to demographic structure of the population, transfer of commodities into biological nutritious values and their development in time, construction of balances between the nutritious values and the nutrition need, international comparison, construction of the recommended dietary allowance, that is RDA, which we follow, estimates of the future demand of food dietary commodities. Now coming to food security. Food security is accessed by all people at all times to enough food for an active healthy life. So there are certain things which comes under this. First is food availability, second is food accessibility, and third is food appropriate utilization. So what is food availability? This refers to availability of necessary types of food in sufficient quantity to the individual. Now coming to food access. Individuals have adequate income or other resources to purchase or barter to obtain level of appropriate foods needed to maintain consumption of an adequate diet by nutrition level. And what is food utilization or consumption? This refers to the how food is properly used, that is food preparation, food handling, food storage, balanced diet, nutritional care of vulnerable group, etc. Now coming to nutrition security. So, as we know, nutrition security can be briefly defined as a balance between biological requirements in energy and nutrient and the quantity and quality of food consumed. Nutritional status is the outcome indicator of nutritional security. On the other hand, indicators for food security are data related to number of undernourished, food production data, consumption and distribution. Okay, so there needs a few things after food security which we need to keep in mind is food production. As we know, there are lots and lots of farmers and lots of agricultural land, but is the appropriate amount of food being produced by them and whatever is required for the entire nation? So that needs to be assessed and that needs to be rectified, and an ample amount of food production is required to maintain the nutritional security. There are certain factors which influences food production. One is environmental factor. See, if the person is not getting the apt amount of sunlight or rain or something like that, or maybe there is a catastrophe happening, so in that case food production will be hampered. Other than that, technical factors, sometimes what happens, a factory or maybe an industrial setup has been done besides agricultural land, and for that it is hampering the food production. Maybe the soil is getting polluted or the water nearby is getting polluted, or maybe the smoke is creating a mess. We are not getting ample amount of fresh air over there. Even oxygen is required, right? So this is a technical factor. And analysis of food now come these two factors are mainly influencing food production. So we should analyze food production so that it is happening in the perfect way, and everybody will be getting the amount of food production should be overseen, so that the entire nation is never running out of food. Because if we can't provide food to a person, not we, basically government, if government is not providing, how can we even talk about nutritional security? First the person needs to fill the stomach, and then only the person can ask for nutritional guidance or everything. Now the third point is food pricing. As we know that we need to afford the food, so the pricing should be kept in a manner so that people of all types of economical status is able to avail it, afford it, so that that person can be can have the nutrition adequacy in his food. Okay. The next part deals with basically economic evaluation of malnutrition. So go through this part, and this part cannot be explained because this is a bit of a mathematical portion, though maths doesn't come from this place. It is just for your understanding, so go through it. If you face any problem, then I will pick up the points and I'll explain it to you. So this way we come to an end to chapter number 5.